Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So today we are going to do our hands-on on our first microservice. Okay, so by the end of this video, you'll be able to create your own microservice integrated with the Eureka Discovery client. Okay, let's get started. So we'll go to this start.spring.io website. From here, we can directly download our project. So you'll not need much efforts. So I'll show you how we can do that. Okay, so this is the Spring Initializer. So project is nothing but the build tool which you need. So you can use either Groovy, Kotlin or Maven. So we are going to use Maven for building our project, and language Java. And then Spring Boot version, we are going to use 3.0.2. So we generally prefer the latest versions. And group name is usually any company name. So here I'm just going to add my name. Artifact is usually the application or the project name. So let's give it employee service, as we are going to create an employee service today. Okay. And Java version I'm taking as 17 because I have that installed in my system. And coming to the dependencies, so here we are going to need Spring Web. So because we are creating a web-based application, so this dependency includes all the required libraries we'll need. And one more thing is it has an embedded Tomcat in it, so you don't have to install Tomcat separately to run our application. And we will also need the Spring Data JPA. Okay, so this is Java Persistence API along using the Spring Data as well as Hibernate. So this is basically used for connecting to our database. So we'll need this. And for our database, I'm not going to use SQL for now. So I'm going to use this H2 database. So this is basically a small database. You can consider it is an in-memory database. So whenever your application is running, you'll have this database. Once your application is stopped, you'll lose the data, and then every time you start, it is a fresh database. So this is very good for developers who don't have who don't need to store the data. They just need to test how their methods or functions are working. So in that sense, this is very useful. And it also has a very good UI, which I'll show you. Okay. And also, as I said, we will need the Eureka Discovery client. So basically, this is a REST-based service which registers itself into the Eureka server. So Eureka server is a Spring Discovery server. So this Discovery client tries to register with the Eureka server. So for now, we will add this dependency, but we are not going to enable it. We'll enable it in our next video. Okay, so I have added these. And if you go to explore, you can see the pom.xml. So this is basically the structure of any Maven project. And here in the pom.xml, you can see how those dependencies will be getting added. Okay. So now we are going to go ahead and download our project. Okay, so so what we have to do is we have to first unzip this project which we have downloaded just now. Okay, so let's go inside it. So here you can see that we have a Maven application already installed. So you don't need to have Maven installed as well. So this comes including the Maven application. So this is for the Mac. You'll have to change the permissions, I guess, to run this. And this is for Windows. And this is the pom.xml which I had just shown you. So as you see, there is no target folder here. And let us try to build this project once. So I'm going to open a command prompt here. And let me show you that I don't have any. Let me increase the font. Okay, I don't have any Maven installed. So I'm going to use the Maven which has come along with the project. So for that, I'm going to use nvn-w clean install. So what this does is it compiles and generates a jar file out of our project. So if you remember, we have selected jar as the option here, the packaging as jar. So it generates a jar file for us. Okay, let's do this. And it also downloads all the dependencies in the .m2 folder. So I can show that .m2 folder. So you can go to your users directory and you will have a .m2 folder. So all the dependencies get downloaded in this .m2 folder. Okay. So next time when you download another microservice and when you run this nvn clean install, so if the dependencies are not present, then it will download. But if they are already downloaded by some other projects which are running on your system, then it will not download again. So in that way, you can share the libraries among the projects. So as you can see, the build is success. And also you might be wondering, there is an exception. So I'll tell you, like as we have added the discovery client, so it tries to connect to the Eureka server. Okay. It is trying to connect to the Eureka server, but it is not able to find it because we have not added it. Okay. So the project is built now, and then you can see that there is a target folder created now. So this is our project which we had extracted and ran the mvn command. And as you can see, this target folder has been generated. So it will have all the classes as well as the sources and test, even the test classes. And this is the main jar file which is then deployed into our servers, and then the application will run. Okay, so whatever is our deploy tool, so that will pick up this jar and then it will deploy it in the server. Okay, so now let's quickly import this Maven project. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to import. Okay, you can just type Maven here and you'll get this. And it is a Maven project, so I'm going to import an existing Maven project. So let's browse it. Okay, I'll just select this and it will automatically detect the pom.xml file. Finish. So as you can see, the project is imported. This is the main structure. The main /java is where all your business logic is present, and resources is where you have all your application.properties files and other property files if you have. And then test is for basically unit testing. And also you can see what are all the Maven dependencies which came along with this pom.xml. And these are the source and target folders. So target is basically after you compile and build the project, the jars which get generated. Okay, and one more thing is, suppose if you have edited any version of your dependency. Okay, you took some latest version has come after you had downloaded this project. You want to take that latest version. Okay, and then you want to specify a particular version. So that version tags, like this version tags, you can give for your dependencies. And what you do is you just go and update the Maven project. So Maven and then update the project. So that particular updated dependency gets downloaded. So let's quickly go to this one file which came along with our project. So which is the employee service application. So any Spring Boot project will have this at the Spring Boot application tag in its starting point. So this is the main starting point of our microservice. So this annotation, Spring Boot annotation, application annotation is a combination of three different annotations. So as you can see, it is a combination of Spring Boot configuration. So this Spring Boot configuration is in turn, it extends the @ configuration of a Spring application. So this is specifically for the Spring Boot configuration. And then you have an @ enable auto configuration. So this helps to see what are the jar files which you have, and then in your class path, and then based on those jar files, it will download the it will configure the dependent beans for you. So this is the main it auto configures, so you don't have to explicitly configure anything. And then @ component scan, this is also a Spring annotation. So this Spring Boot application annotation is a combination of these three. And let's go ahead and create our model, or we call the domain class. So let's give it a name model to the package. And this, within this package, we are going to create a class named employee. Okay. And here I'm going to add two properties for this employee. So let's keep it an ID and a name. Okay. And so this is I'm sorry. Okay, so this entity determines that this is going to be mapped with a table in the database. So that is why we have to give this @ entity annotation and @ table annotation. And if you have a table with a different name, so what you can do is you can define the name of the table here. Okay, so I don't need that as of now, so I'm going to skip this part. And then so when we insert the values in the database, so I don't want to specify the ID which I will be inserting. So for that, what I'm going to do is, so what this does is it will automatically take the ID variable as the identity. So it will automatically, whenever we are going to insert new rows in this table, it will automatically increment the ID. Okay, so this generation type could be of all these variations. So generally we use the identity. So this will become the, this indicates that this ID will become the primary key for our table. Okay, so let's take this identity, and then I am going to add some getters and setters. Okay. for these two variables. So this is our model class, which is getting mapped with the table in the database. So let's move on to our repository. Okay, so we will give it a name as repository, and we are going to add an interface in this. And the name of the interface will be employee repository, which extends the JPA repository. So this requires two type definitions. One is the type of object this repository is going to represent, and the other one is what will be the ID with which it is going to do the CRUD operations, the create, read, add, update and delete operations. So here the type will be our model class, which we have defined earlier, and the ID will be we have given it an int form. We can give it in this way, or we can also define this ID as static and then give that as well. So let us keep it as integer. So the beauty of this is, so the basic, getting all the values, saving an employee object, getting all the employees, updating an employee, deleting an employee. So all these are handled by the JPA repository. So we don't have to provide any implementation. So we'll just have to create an interface which is extending the JPA repository and give our model class name and its primary key. So, and this will connect with the database and then handle all the CRUD operations. So if there are any other more specific requirements, like finding any employee by name or finding by some department ID, so in that case you'll have to just give the name of the method. Okay, so I'm not going into details of this as of now because our main concentration is on creating the microservice. So let's just save this. So here we have so our repository is completed now. So now we are going to do this integration. Okay, we will create an employee service and we will integrate it with our repository. So for that, the basic way which we follow, like the best practice, is we will create another package for the service, and we are going to have first an interface, employee service, and let's have one method here which should return all the list of employees. Okay, I'm not giving any parameter here. So this is the Java util. This is the model which we have created. Okay, so as of now we are going to add this one method over here. Okay, let's save this, and then in the same package we will create its implementation class. So we'll make it employee service impl, and this will implement our interface, and it will say like you have to implement that one method which is there in the interface. And here what we are going to do is we will auto wire our repository. So the simple thing which you will have to do here is find all. Okay, that's it. And we have to return this. So you see, it's so simple. So we are just saying employee repository find all. So this implementation is already handled by the JPA repository. So you don't have to write any query, select star from table. So you don't have to do all of that. So this is going to fetch all the employees for us and return to us. Okay. And this is our service class. Let's save this. Okay, so we have completed that. Now let us finish our employee service completely by creating an endpoint. So the endpoint would be like the client which is trying to connect to our employee service. Okay, so for that, the best practice is to create a package with the name. It could be a controller or something like endpoint, something like that, which will be connected by the front end applications or by another service. Okay, so let me show you that. So we will have an employee controller here. Okay, so this would be a REST controller. So REST controller, this is a combination of request mapping as well as response body. So you don't have to give response body annotations for your methods in this class because like whatever is the response coming back from the service, it is automatically going to convert it in the form which is required by the client. So you don't have to specifically mention the at the response body annotation. So this is a combination of both of those annotations. And then we will define a method public list of employees. We are going to get all employees. So this is the Java util class, and then interface, and then this is our employee model. So here now this controller we need to auto wire with our service. Okay, and we are just going to add return employee service dot get all employees. So whatever method we have added in our service. Okay, and here we will be defining our URL. Okay, so this basically completes our flow from the starting till this employee repository. Now for integrating H2, we need to add some properties in the properties file. Okay, so let's do that. So what we'll do is let's start this application and see what happens. Let's have a look at it once. So I'm going to go to this main application class and I'm going to run it as a Java application. So let's see what happens. Okay, so it is not able to start because for H2 we need to add some properties. So let's remove all these old console. Let's add that properties. So in the application.properties, so let me add these properties. Okay, let's add these first. So this H2 console enabled. So this will, as I mentioned earlier, so this H2 will have a UI where we can see our table and run some select queries and all that stuff. So this is enabling that console. And show SQL is in the console, it will show you what the queries it is going to run, what the JPA is running in the behind the scenes, the queries which it is running, and then the URL. Okay, and the URL of our database. So if you're using an SQL database, so you'll have to provide the URL of the SQL database. And then the driver class name, username is this is the default username, and password is empty. So these are the configurations for H2. Okay, let's try to start the application now. Okay, so what we have not done here is in the repository we have to mention this annotation. So it is not able to find any repository, so that is why we are getting that exception. Let's try to run it again. Okay, so I have also missed another annotation which is needed. Yeah, so it has to be an @ID annotation. Okay, so these two annotations are needed to define this as a primary key. Yeah, hopefully it works now. Let's try it out. So this is a duty of doing a hands-on. So you get to know the different exceptions you might be encountering, and then you learn with those. Okay, yeah. So I wanted to show you this Tomcat. Let me search. Started Tomcat. Uh, okay, so Tomcat is, as you can see, it is running on 8080. So if you wish to change, we can change that as well. And also, it is trying to connect to Eureka. Okay, so this is the service URL which is pre-configured with that feature which we added as a dependency, the Eureka discovery client. So because of that, it is trying to connect to a Eureka server, and the default port for a Eureka server is 8761. So it is not able to connect, and that is why we are getting this exception. So meanwhile, I'll disable this exception, and then I will also show the H2 console. Okay, so these exceptions are coming up. So let us stop the application here. And then let's add this first. And I'm trying to run the application on another port now. And let's give some name to our application. So let's take these three properties as well in our application.properties file. Okay, I'm disabling the client for now. I'm making it false. Port I'm changing from 8080 to 8081. And the application name. So if you see, like let's start this, and I will show you another thing as well. So I just wanted to show the H2 console. Okay, so H2 console available at /H2 console. So let's go to our local host. 8081 we have given, and then H2 console. So we don't need this. Okay, so this is the JDBC URL which we have given, the driver class, username SA, and let's try to connect it. Yeah, so as you can see, this is the UI which we get. This is the console, and this makes it pretty easy to test whatever endpoints we are writing, like how the tables are getting created, because generally you're going to have a lot of interconnections between the tables, a lot of joins. So this makes it easier to work on a test database instead of directly your actual database. Okay, so as you can see, it has ID and one column name. So I just clicked on it and it's giving me this select query. So let's run it. Yeah, so we do not have any rows as of now. So we are not going to, we have not added any data. So that is why it's not showing. So one way to add data here in H2 is you'll have to give it in a SQL file. So let's stop this. So I'm going to create one SQL file, and the name of the file has to be import.sql. Okay, I don't want to open it in any editor. I just need a text editor. So here we will insert some values in our table. Insert into employee. Name is the column. Values. Let's add my name. Then let's add few more names. So let's add Krishna. Just random names. Okay, so I have added 4 values, and let us start the application again. And as we have given the property show SQL true, okay, so there is some problem here. It has taken that file, but So what's the problem here? Let me try to add just one for now. Let me keep them here. Let's just skip single quotes. I think it has to be single quotes. Okay, so it looks like it worked. And as you see, it created the table employee, and then and it has also inserted the row. So let's see how this has got inserted. Okay, so let's refresh this. I think this is not going to, yeah, it will refresh. Then we have to connect to it again. Okay, we have seen, like we can see this one row. Now let's go to our actual endpoint which we have added in our controller, that is employees, I believe. So check this and check. Yes, yeah, so we got this one row from the database. Isn't that good? Okay, so we have added this controller. So when I hit this slash employees, so it has gone to this controller, and then from here to the get all employees, and which is auto add with our repository, and this JP implementation is helping us find all the employees from the table with the help of these connection which we have given. It is able to connect to our in-memory database. So now let's add these remaining names as well. You need to keep in mind that the name of the file has to be import.sql. Any other name would not work. So that is the way it is. So I'm just changing these double quotes to single quotes. Then let's run this application again. Okay, we have some. Okay, did I add some weird characters? Okay, I missed a single quote. So let me stop it. Okay, let's run it again. So as you see, all these queries are displayed, and we have disabled that Eureka client, so it is not trying to connect to our server. So in the next video, I will show you the Eureka server configuration, and then we will enable this, and then we can see how this registers with that Eureka server. Okay, so now yeah, so as you can see, we got the list of all the employees which are present in the database. So this is going to refresh again. We'll have to connect to it again. Yeah. Yes, so as you can see, these 4 rows have been added, and I didn't have to mention the ID, so that is automatically generated. Yeah, so with the help of this Springboard, we have created our first microservice. I hope you learned something from this, and and I hope you liked it. So do like and subscribe to my channel so that I'll get motivated and create more such videos for you and help you. Thank you.